going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports MLB Swing for the Fences show. I'm your host, Mangone. Man, I'm here with JSU. I'm here with Titletown. We're already in the middle of like a 5-round boxing match. I mean, they're going at it, talking the Bucks. We'll go over the title first, right? We got to let him speak first because, of course, the Bucks won last night. I'm sure he was in the Deer District jumping up and down. I'm sure he'll be at the parade tomorrow jumping up and down. Title, I'll just leave the floor to you. Whatever you want to say, go for it.
I'm speechless. I really don't have too many words. I'm not even sure it's hit all the way yet. You don't expect things like this. I'm in Milwaukee, an NBA championship. I always thought, we got the Super Bowl a while ago, but this was absolutely crazy. The Deer District, I've never seen anything like it. Nobody could move. It was absolutely nuts. And Giannis put on a performance for the ages. There's, especially working with RPS people, the biggest Giannis haters in the industry. JSU's already, like you said, 5-round boxing match. JSU and already yelling at each other. He had to mute himself right now. He couldn't hold back. He really, he stuck it to the haters. He was the best player on the court, best player in a lot of the games by a long shot. He just clicked mentally and something changed and he took over the game. And it was very, very fun to watch. He's only 26 years old, played basketball starting in 2008. There's a lot more years of Giannis. I've always been on the Giannis train, obviously. I've had to be. Feels nice to get one. You could tell Giannis is living his best life right now. He was in the Chick-fil-A line at 10 a.m., hasn't slept, had his 2 trophies next to him, Instagram Live. He's loving every second of it. He stayed with Milwaukee, did it where he wanted to do it, didn't join any teams. Couldn't be happier for the man. He's a great human being too. So it's just all around very, very happy. Parade tomorrow is going to be awesome. It was a good celebration. The Bucks had me on a whole summer was the Bucks. Didn't have to worry about the Aaron Rodgers coming back or not coming back or any of that. Was able to tune all that out. Feels really good. Not too many other words.
All right, JSU, I know you're holding back. So now it's your turn to just
I just got this soft, quiet title. First of all, the guy is just he's got to be hungover. The poor dude, and he's on the show. So I'll give him credit for that because he sounds hungover. He sounds tired, but he's here. So I'll give Title credit for that, and I'll give his Bucks and Giannis credit for the game last night because honestly, the team outside of Giannis played horrible. So the fact that they won that game because Giannis carried them, that's big for Giannis for sure. Because Drew Holiday had a rough game. He struggled a little bit. Played great, obviously, defensively and stuff like that, but he struggled offensively. Chris Middleton, we can say what we want, but at the end of the game, they ran a play. Who'd they run the play for? Chris Middleton coming around the screen, hitting a buck. I'm just saying, it's amazing to me that a guy's got 40-something or 50 points, and at the end of the game, you're still running a play to get Chris Middleton a bucket. With I don't know about you, Title, but I'm assuming you don't care because you guys obviously won and everything like that. But that's kind of stunning when you see that. But Giannis is selfless in a way. I think that's what makes him good, and I think that's what he showed in this series. And from talking to the media and stuff like that, that was the respect that I got from him was I think he took a step back in this series. Besides last night, I think he took a step back and let the others help him more than he usually would. And I said this yesterday on our show, Drew Holiday's not normally as aggressive as he's been in this Sun series. And I think that's one of the best things he could have done was allow Drew Holiday to have the ball in his hands a little bit more and to be more aggressive, to come off screens more aggressive. I thought that was the best adjustment the Bucks made in the series as a whole was telling Drew Holiday. I remember after game 1, Coach Bud actually talked about it. He said, we just told him, he's got to, be more aggressive, and we just keep encouraging him. And he was the rest of the series, even though he played bad last night offensively. I thought he was the key in the series in general. Yeah, Giannis might have been the key last night, but trust me, Drew Holiday, game 5, that second quarter, his defense on Devin Booker in the fourth quarter, that won them that game. props to the Bucks, props to Title and Spread. Spread just owned me on Twitter, by the way, which
yeah,
I'm taking L's all over. I mean, the friggin' Bucks, you want to talk about running pure? I mean, the Bucks ran as pure as
Here
possible.
we go.
The Nets, I mean, the friggin' Nets, James Harden gets injured 40 seconds in. Kyrie Irving goes down in game, 4? I'll take my L, though. I lost. Spread plus 950. He called it when the playoffs started. I mean, that was a sick bet. If you don't watch the NBA rundown, let me tell you right now, nobody grinds harder when it comes to NBA betting than our guy Spread. If you don't watch those rundowns on our bets channel, Rump Your Bets, then make sure next year you get over there because Spread does a great job. And, we go on there and talk with him and stuff, but he's the man who holds that show together, and he gives a really good breakdown.
Spread was spot on with it. It was a good one that he jumped on to, and overall it was like a fun way to end the year. It was a good overall playoffs, I'd say. It was unfortunate. A lot of guys went down. I hope we don't have like a playoffs like that again, right? That was unfortunate, but it was a good playoff series, right? I feel like some of them, if you look like that Lakers Heat one was kind of boring, right? It definitely was a little more exciting, I think, than some past ones. So it was good that we were able to get that. We got Joey working the chat saying JSU AirPod. If you watch the rundown, you'll know, JSU's name.
JSU AirPod got owned. I said it on Twitter. Listen, I'll take my L's. When I lose, I'm a man. I'll tweet it out. I'll tell people I lost. I got owned by Spread. Spread owned me. He had the video. I wonder, did he save that video, or do you think he went through to find the video?
I think he found it.
I don't know. He might have saved that clip. Spread, I want to know if you saved that clip, just in case.
He went through to find it afterwards, I'm sure. I know. Spread was definitely nervous at some points, for sure. No doubt.
He was definitely nervous at some
points. That's how it goes
with
like future betting, right? I mean, it's never clean. Yeah. It always has some ups and downs. That's how it always goes. You take the number you get, and then you kind of have to
Mangone, did you hedge the series after 2-0 Suns? What'd you do? I want to hear about how Mangone's betting went in that playoff series, because I know you hedged.
I probably wasn't as tuned in as normal, I'd say. I wasn't able to watch game one as closely, right? And then cause I had something to do that night. And then a couple other nights I was doing PGA shows while it was going on. So, I mean, I watched the finals, obviously, but I wasn't as invested betting wise into that one. So JSU, you didn't have me hedging back and forth and being super invested. But it was fun to watch overall. I wanted Chris Paul to win because Chris Paul doesn't have as many chances, right? And then we lose another year of having some fun with Giannis like we used to with LeBron, right? The LeBron jokes were fun in its day. That was when Title was 5 years old, but we lose that with Giannis now, but that's okay. We not allowed to make fun of him anymore. And I'm happy for him. I was shocked, JSU. The one thing I will say, I always thought when Giannis would win, I thought he would be look more like LeBron out there, right? Shooting a little bit more, right? I felt like he looked a little more like Shaq, in a way, just the way he dominated down low. And that's okay, right? I mean, the Bucks did what they had to. They got rid of shitty Eric Bledsoe they needed to.
Yes.
And they upgraded, which I was surprised they were able to make that upgrade to a Drew Holiday, which was incredible. And even Brook Lopez, I was thinking, man, there's no way Brook Lopez will still be around for it, but they were able to get the job done by just benching Brook Lopez, which ended up working out. I mean, that's what we've talked about a ton. Get Giannis at the 5. That's how that team is going to be better. And, they were impressive. They got the job done. So congrats to the Bucks and Giannis. And, I feel bad for Chris Paul, though, because he's a great player and he probably won't get that title. I mean, maybe he will, right? Maybe the Suns will bounce back, but it's going to be a tough road.
You can feel bad for him, but how do you really? Why are you feeling bad for him? I mean, listen, Chris Paul's a great player, but he choked. Let's just say what it is. If the Suns as a team choked, that series, you go up 2-0. I don't know what else you want. You start the series off 2-0 and you end up losing in 6 games. You lose 4 straight. I don't know. That's just I don't feel bad for Chris Paul. How do you feel bad for Chris Paul after another choke job?
He's an all-time good player, right? I mean, he's one of those guys but it sucks, right? Yeah, he didn't get the job done when he should have. He should have stepped up. And speaking of guys stepping up, Giannis, right? I will say the one thing that I really like about Giannis is Giannis went 17 for 19 at the free throw line, and he said, I was sick of people saying I suck, right? I can't shoot free throws. I love that. That's stuff that I will say, I love a grinder, right? A guy that gets in there, and when people are making fun of him, he comes up and rises up, and that's what he did, right? He stayed home. He didn't leave, which I thought at some point he'd leave, and he got the job done.
Nothing was better than him though. After at the Chick-fil-A line, talking about I want a 50 piece. Like he wanted the 50 piece. Like he didn't want 47. He wanted the 50. Like right. I love that. That him and his Instagram live stuff is kind of funny.
Oh yeah, no, the Instagram live stuff was amazing. He definitely did a good job of creating content afterwards,
he called out all the super teams too. Did you guys see that I thought that was, I mean, you want to talk about ball? I mean, he called out literally like all the stars in the league. Called out KD, called out James Harden, LeBron. I mean, literally all these guys, all the top stars. He called them all out, and he said fuck it after. He didn't give a shit. I love that. That was one thing I gained even more respect for him after. And it's like
he says it how he sees it, and I mean he's like the superstars. I mean it was nice to see them all tweet out like LeBron, KD, Steph after Game 6, but all playoffs, Giannis is putting up these numbers, and you rarely saw any tweets. I mean Damian Lillard tweeted about Giannis's block, but LeBron wanted Chris Paul. I mean, Giannis isn't the same superstar with the other superstars. And I mean, he goes in the All-Star games. He's the only one trying really hard, or like, doesn't look like he fits in necessarily, but he likes to win at the end of the day. It's hard not to love the guy, but I'm also a little biased. I do know that.
Oh, just a little bit.
Yeah,
just a little biased. Title's a little biased. I mean, he's been defending the Bucks literally since we started RPS. I mean, back in the bubble. So he's been defending them
forever.
Yeah, and we have people in the chat like they're saying like Middleton and Drew, they're not all-stars. Yeah, they're not all-stars, right? But it's the point of one of the trends was like, obviously if you can't win where you're at, like let me just get my boys and like go somewhere else, right? Where the cap is right and we like the situation. Like it's like it is true. He stayed where he was, right? In a place like Milwaukee. This isn't a Miami, this isn't a New York, right?
Yeah. I mean, he could have went anywhere when his thing was like, I mean, he could have joined. The point is He didn't go join with anyone. Yeah, did they sign guys and make moves to better their team? Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's good. And Drew Holiday's a much better upgrade than Eric Bledsoe. I understand that, but he could have went and played with X star, like whatever, KD or whoever he wanted to. I don't know, Jokic, whoever. He chose not to do it. That's the point that we're making, not that he wasn't playing with other stars or anything like that. First of all, I think Drew Holiday's a star anyway, so.
Yeah. I mean, you need like getting Drew Holiday. They gave up a lot for him too. Some people even said a little too much. Bobby Portis signing. I mean, it wasn't there. It's not like superstars are coming to join the Bucks. I mean, you need someone outside of your star to win nowadays. So yeah, I mean, he did it the right way. I think Middleton and Drew. I mean, they had to step up. Bobby played great. It was all around a team effort. And I thought the finals, I mean, I think the Suns are a very good team too.
God, I thought that Bobby played great. Can't you just see Title jumping up and down last night, man, going, I mean, he was going nuts. He was in that, what was it, 65,000 they said?
65,000, yep. More than lacrosse. It was like the 9th highest populated city if you put it up there in Wisconsin, the Deer District alone.
The difference between me and JSU and Title, right? Me and JSU wouldn't be caught dead in like a Deer District jumping up.
Oh, never. I mean, I could love the team. I could love all the players on the team. Wouldn't matter. You would never catch me jumping up and down 65,000 strong anywhere. Like I'll be sitting back on my couch watching the game, watching the 65,000 jump up and down, cheering. Never would you catch me though. Title's like 22 years old, so he's still in that stage where he's partying and hanging out with his boys. That ended early for
JSU. At 23, you weren't hanging out in the Deer District either. Neither was I.
No, I wasn't. Definitely not. Maybe if I was like 18, I would be like high school, 15, 16, 17, 18, illegally drinking and all that stuff. But now, nope. See you later.
You guys would have hated it. It was there's not for everyone. That's for sure. People were, it was railings were being passed over, people on top of them, people climbing the poles. You couldn't get out of there at all. It was just, couldn't even go to the bathroom. You guys definitely wouldn't have liked it, but I liked it.
Only chance I could have ever went is if you had to have forced Big T with like antlers on and like a Giannis jersey and watching him jump up and down. And
I wish he came.
Big T's another one. No way you would have caught. No way Big T's caught dead in that 65,000 either. So.
He wouldn't have liked it either.
We got Big Willie J in the chat. He goes, move on with it. Let's talk MLB. Big Willie J, is this your first time here? Because we'll get there. Don't you worry. JSU, tell them what we do here at Run Pure Sports.
I mean, listen, if you want the MLB winners, then you're just going to have to sit there and wait. Or you can go and find another show because this is what we do. We're going to talk bullshit for the first 10 to 20 minutes, and then we'll get to the winners. We're not going to hold the winners back. We're going to keep this show going until we finish. So trust me, at the end of the show, you'll have all the MLB winners you want. But the first part of the show, this is for us, all right? We want to bullshit back and forth. I want to see Title smile, even though I know he's hungover and he's tired and he's probably
You're making me.
I'm going to fall asleep right now, but
you're waking me up. You're making me happy. I mean, anyone that knows RPS knew when they saw Title coming on the show, basketball was going to be talked about for a little while.
Could you imagine us not talking about the basketball for the first 15 minutes and instead we're breaking down Jordan Lyles pitch metrics or whatever? Like no one wants that, right? Like we'll give you the winners. We'll break down the pitchers. We're going to go a little overtime possibly, right? If it goes to 5:35, 5:40, that's where we'll get to, right? If it ends at 5:30, that's fine too. However long it goes, we'll break it down. And Willie J, worst show I've ever seen. Get on out of here, man. We don't need you. But
listen, man, Gold might even go into his kickball matchup for this weekend. He might even break down his kickball matchup. So don't make us get into the kickball matchup, Willie. We'll do it. We don't care.
Yeah, listen, if they need a substitute this week, again, this is not my team. I was subbing and being a nice guy. This is all. I'm not the captain. I feel like
Title, you weren't there for this show. Title.
I heard a little.
Would you? Okay, no, I want to know this though, because you're still relatively young. So, would you do any type of like men's kickball league? Or when was the last time you played kickball? Let's just do that.
Grade school.
Thank you. Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you. Kickball. I haven't played kickball since I was literally like 10, I think, like 9 or 10.
That show had me in tears. I will say that. You guys had me dying.
Again, JC, if your friend was in a pinch, right? I mean, you got nothing to do for the night. Would you go play? I mean, that's what it was. I'm not like the captain of the team. That's what I'm getting at. I was trying to help.
I guess you're a better friend than me, Mangone, because no, I wouldn't go play.
Mangone, I get it. I'll back you up a little bit because like I do like beer league softball stuff, and like my friends just don't do kickball. So at the end of the day, if I had to and someone asked, I would probably join. It's more of a social thing. But
I got asked to be on the team like before. My buddy's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it. Do you want to join me?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm out." You know what I mean? Like I'm not doing that. But
Joe, it worked. I wish I had that where I could just mute both of these two right now for saying this right now. Kickball. I mean, come on.
I will say I got some people in the chat are supporting that side. Some people said it's low-key Liddy. I think we've gone too far. And that's where we need to get to the baseball now. I mean, let's start talking that. It's a little too far. But let's talk some baseball. Let's get if Big Willie hasn't left us, we'll start getting him excited. We'll get him.
He's out of here. He's out of here. He better be out of here.
Hopefully he's out of here. We don't need that. That's bad. That's bad mojo. We need
that's
good
bad
mojo,
and we don't want that. But let's talk about some good mojo, JSC, right? Let's talk about some of the winners we had last night. Let's talk about Chef Craig. He dropped $11K in NBA. He ended up shipping. We got K Bull 25 winning $14K. This is Cable also, that was on FanDuel. On DK, he won $23,000. And then JTP 94 won $37,000 yesterday. That was on the NBA Showdown where we talked about that a little bit on the premium show. JSU, you were on there. I hopped on there for a little bit. Big T was. So, I don't know if that helped out or if it was just the core plays of the playbook, but some of our members won, which you love to see over here at Run Pure Sports. If you want to sign up now, head on over, sign up. We have a code RPS Heater 25, get you 25% off your first payment. So be sure to check that out. We're going to have Showdown running for MLB. We're going to have, MLB tonight. We got MMA with Titletown. He does that on the weekends. We got all the content you need for every sport over at Run Pure Sports. So again, use that code RPS Heater 25. JSU, before we kind of dive on in, give me your overall breakdown on this slate. Like, what are you looking at? Are you playing pitchers, hitters? How are you attacking this slate?
By the way, just if you weren't there, obviously, if you're not a subscriber and you don't, yesterday I was on the premium show. Imagine playing Aaron Nola last night at Chalk. It's terrible. Aaron Nola. Mangone, you definitely played Aaron Nola. I know you did. So did you, Title. Both you guys definitely played Aaron Nola.
I didn't play baseball yesterday. I was.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I would have. Maybe it saved me, but I was not.
Coors and Aaron Nola was definitely Title's core if he played.
I was close.
Nola.
I was close to fading Nola, but then that like last second switch of LeMahieu, I was like, gosh, I mean, that lineup's so bad. Like I was close to not doing it, but then I ended up getting there. I was just like, I got to do it. I was going to do Marquez on FanDuel over him, which wouldn't have helped that much either way, but JSU, it didn't matter. I still cashed GPPs with shitty Aaron Nola.
You know what's the best, though, is my guy K. Fallick, who was talking all about Tariq Skubal's pitch count, which maybe he was right, maybe he was wrong, because I think he only threw 83 pitches, but he still owned Aaron Nola and put up 20 DraftKings points and outscored him. So take that, K. Fallick, and your chalky ass. I still played him because I got balls, and he did it for me. So that's all I needed. Tariq Skubal. All right, Mangone, did you play him?
I didn't, but I didn't want to deal with the weather. I was like, I don't need to. And again, JSU, if you're in tournaments, I get it. I had cash games out there too, right? I had the head-to-head. So,
hopefully no one listened to K. Fallick and got scared off of that play.
Well,
I'm calling out someone right now, and you guys know who I'm talking about. Big T.
Well, Big T will have his chance to, bark back at you on the premium show. He's on that today with Draft Cheat. But we got to get those likes and subscribes up, right? We got JSU here, right? And JSU, he's going to want to give his play of the day. And 400 watching, only 96 likes. That's very hurtful. So let's get those up. But JSU, I mean, you went on your little rant, but give me your breakdown on this slate, right? Are you attacking with some certain pitchers? Are you attacking with some hitters? I mean, it was supposed to be a Toronto day, and it could be a Toronto day again today, but there's tons of hitters on this slate, JSU. Give me your first overall takeaway of tournaments on this slate.
Yeah, I'm mad because I would have wanted to play Toronto. What was it, last night when Coors was on the slate? Now, obviously, Coors, we had a nice little early slate, and Coors was on the early slate today. So they're not on this slate with Toronto. So I'm assuming Toronto's going to be very popular, which they should be against Richards. So I'm probably going to end up being under on them, but they're in a really good spot. I don't want to say I'm going to completely fade Toronto because that might not be the case. It just kind of depends on the pitching because the Toronto stack is expensive, with Vladdy and Semien and Bo Bichette. And I don't know maybe one of you guys can talk me into a cheap pitcher, which we'll kind of get into, but I think I need at least one cheapie to get a Toronto stack that I want. So we'll talk about that, but I think we got to start with these top tier pitchers and my guy Wainwright, who, I've been on almost the last two slates I haven't been on them against San Francisco because San Francisco has a lot of strong lefties. But other than that, I've been playing this dude, and he's been coming through for me. He gets Chicago, who's been striking out a ton. So it's a great matchup for him at home. And I think he's my favorite pitcher overall on the slate. Lance McCullers, I could understand people going with him just because he's been a very safe and strong play. Last few starts, going 7 strong. Last two, 8 and 10 strikeouts. It's looked really good. He gets a Cleveland team that, he actually pitched very well against them last time he faced them about 3 starts ago. Got 8 Ks, only 5 innings against them. But still, that team outside of Jose Ramirez is weak. So I could see people going McCullers as their number one guy. Then you got Robbie Ray, who has a tougher matchup for sure. But the strikeouts are there. Like, this dude can strike out, 8 to 10 against pretty much anyone. He's got the stuff to do it. And you've seen it. He's faced Boston, this year before. And the last time he faced Boston in Boston, what did he do? He had 10 Ks. So, that's the type of upside you get with Robbie Ray. Yeah, he gave up 3 earned in that game, but he still had 10 strikeouts. I could completely see another start where he gives up 3, but he's got double-digit strikeouts. That's definitely in the realm of possibility for Robbie Ray. So from a strikeout upside, he is definitely up there as a guy I want to target. So I think those are the top 3 pitchers. It's more just how you're going to rank them in order, and I would go Wainwright, And then in tournaments, I'd probably go Ray McCullers, but McCullers is definitely safer. Like for cash games, you guys are probably just going to plug in McCullers, I would assume, out of him and Ray. But for tournaments, I think Ray has the most upside because I think his strikeout upside is right up there with just about anyone's.
Yeah, so I've gone back and forth on pitcher today. I think like the three that you mentioned, right, JSU, Ray, I'd say McCullers, and I'd say like Wainwright are like the main three that I'm keying in on, at least like in, I'd say cash games, but like you can make an argument if maybe you can't get all the bats if you go all those guys, right? I mean, that's one of the debates on this slate. On FanDuel, I think those are the three that I'm debating between. Title, I'll go over to you. You play a lot of FanDuel and you play DK as well. Are those three of the main pitchers you're looking at? I think for me, Wainwright's my number one, surprisingly, which like JSU loves himself some Wainwright, and I'm on board with him today on the Waino train. So how about you, Title? Who is your favorite of the guys at the top, and what else are you doing at pitcher?
Yeah, I agree with JSU completely. I mean, well, slate overview kind of like Toronto is the best offense for sure, but they are expensive, and I just don't like any of the pitchers all the way down. So there's some value bats. There's some other spots that I do like for hitting, and I'm going to prioritize pitching. I think the top three clearly are McCullers, Wainwright, and Robbie Ray. I personally have McCullers first, Wainwright second, Robbie Ray third, and then tournaments, it makes a lot of sense. Robbie Ray, I mean, he's been the best pitcher on the slate this year. He has a strikeout upside for sure, as we always know. Boston's just really tough. Lance McCullers, he's been so good lately. Strikeouts have been there over 7 in his last 4 starts. He's throwing a lot of pitches. This Cleveland lineup is not very good at all. I think it's just a very, very safe play, and I think he's the best pitcher on the board. And then Wainwright, absolutely. He's been very good as well. We like picking on the Cubs for DFS now. 9.3K. I mean, I know, and JSU likes him. You like him. I liked him coming in. I think that's going to be my pairing in most lineups, McCullers and Wainwright. Robbie Ray, I'll mix in a little bit. If I had to mention one other pitcher, it would be Dylan Cease. He has a solid matchup against Minnesota. They have an applied total for 4.3. He has a strikeout prop at 6.5, which is third on the slate. And then there's juice on the over too. So that's encouraging. And I think he's the one that gets overlooked. I think people are going to go to those three. If you want a little ownership discount at pitcher, Dylan Cease would be my fourth guy. But McCullers 1, Wainwright 2, mix in Robbie Ray for tournaments, and then I'd mix in Cease or tournaments at lower ownership too.
Yeah, well, so I didn't see that Jose Ramirez is in that lineup, right? That lineup's really bad today. I mean, look at that Cleveland lineup. I'll just read it out loud. Zimmer, Rosario, Hernandez, Reyes, Bradley, Mercado, Perez, Chang, and Clement. Like it's a bad lineup today where, listen, Lance might be one of those guys that has an absolute ceiling game. And he's one of those guys like Robbie Ray, if you thought of in the past, right? Like Robbie Ray was someone that you knew the ceiling was insane, right? But you also knew the floor was rough. And that's what Lance McCullers, like he can be like that too. But this is a spot where if you look at everything, the guys don't walk a ton. There's a lot of strikeouts. I mean, this is the perfect matchup for McCullers. So, you can't ignore him. Like I said, those three guys at the top, they're all interesting. But JSU, we'll go back to you because you said you want maybe to find a pitcher down low, right? And the chat has talked about Jordan Lyles. I've seen some Matt Manning. I've seen some Eric Fetty, and he's a little more expensive over on DK. But Matt Manning is 4.1K, and he gets Texas. I know you love yourself some Texas, JSU, but you know they can strike out. And you're looking for some guys at the bottom. I'm not saying I want to play them, but I'm trying to find something for you. You're asking me to create something. I mean, do I play this Nick Nider guy against Washington? Probably not. Washington's
No.
good. So, JSU, we have to create something. And I don't know if you force me to pick a 4K guy, it'd probably be Matt Manning, but I'm not in love with it.
Yeah, no Nick Nieder. Let's not go to Nick Nieder. Washington's been on such a heater. That's dangerous right there. Now, Matt Manning, 4.1 against Texas. I talked about this on the show yesterday where I watched Texas hit the last 2 nights, and a lot of their guys just look lost at the plate. Now, I do normally like to target Texas against lefties because their power bats, Gallo, Lowe, most of them, like they're from the left side. So, I don't normally love targeting righties against them as much, especially a guy who, in Manning, we've actually seen the pitch count numbers going down recently, and this was one of the things that DC was talking about just with these guys, these Detroit guys in general, where we're going to start to see them ramp their starters back down and then ramp them up because they're kind of out of the race. So I'm wondering, does he see like 60 to 70 pitches? Maybe, and he's 4.1 against a bad Texas team. Could he get it done? Yeah, possibly. He's got a decent projection. The K's haven't all been there, though. I mean, if you look at 5 innings against the Twins, he had 3 Ks. Then he goes 2.2 against the White Sox, no Ks, 3.2 against Cleveland, 2 Ks. 5 innings against St. Louis and 1 K. So the strikeout numbers aren't necessarily there for Manning. Does a, team in Texas help, boost that a little bit? Possibly. And he's cheap enough, I guess, where you could take a shot. Jordan Lyles, on the other hand, though, I understand that he's put together a few performances that have been really good outside of Toronto, which Toronto's one of those offenses where I put them right up there with, almost like the Dodgers, and where you can nix that one out, right, man? Going like Jordan Lyles against Toronto in Toronto, we'll just throw that game out. Outside of that, he's had a few good starts against Oakland, Seattle, and KC's been struggling. But Detroit is stingy, man. Detroit has been pretty good, and I don't know if I want to mess with this Detroit team as much. So I don't think I'm going to play Lyles. If anything, if I was going to punt with anyone, I guess it would be Manning. Take a shot that Texas, like I've seen the last 2 slates from Texas, they've just looked lost at the plate, most of their guys. I would go and take a shot with that over Jordan Lyles, but that's just my guess. The Dylan Cease call from Title, I actually do like a little bit. He's a good pitcher, like in my opinion. He's got the stuff where he can give you 8 to 10 strikeouts. I mean, if you look at it, just his last 5, 7, 7, 8, 6, and 10. And he had 10 against Houston, which is nice. Like, that's a good spot. He's seen this Minnesota team twice in his last 4 games. Had one, really good outing, and then one outing where he gave up 6 earned. He still had 8 Ks, though, in that game where he gave up 6 earned. So this might be a spot where 8,600, maybe he is a good pivot off of one of those stud guys at the top, where maybe it is not a bad idea to take some salary savings to Cease if that, 15 to 1,300 from like Robbie Ray or McCullers gets you anything. I don't hate that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it is a tough slate, because you want to spend on these bats because there's a lot of bad pitchers, but you also don't want to roster those bad pitchers to get them in there, right? So it's definitely a little difficult. That's why that mid-tier, it's not the worst idea to look at. Title, I'll go over to you. Are there any cheap guys you're even considering? Like I said, I'm not really considering them, but that mid-tier, right? You talked about Dylan Cease. How are you kind of handling getting in enough bats with your pitchers today on this slate?
Yeah, the thing is, we do have bats on the slate. Toronto is the top offense, and they are expensive. So that's pretty much the only reason if you're going to full punt is to get Toronto, because you can afford good bats. I mean, there's always, we'll get to the bats, but there's always misprices, people in good spots that are too cheap, and the same as this slate. So I don't see myself going all the way down, because I think 2 of Wainwright, Cease, McCullers, and Robbie Ray are going to put up a pretty big game. And I just don't want to put Matt Manning in my lineup at the end of the day. He's 4.1K. If I'm going to full punt anybody, it would be Matt Manning because of the matchup. You can hope he gets you 5 innings, gets you 13 DraftKings points or something. But if McCullers or Cease or Ray or them get you 30, you're pretty much at a loss already. So I'm not going to be going all the way down. Manning would be the guy. And I think I'm going to move Cease up ahead of Robbie Ray too. So McCullers, Wainwright, Cease, and then Robbie Ray is my rankings. But those would be my 4 in my pitching pool.
If Manning got you 13, yeah, that's fine. You would take 13 from a 4K pitcher, even if the other studs got 25 to 30.
I would take.
You could make up for that. I would take that. If you told me my 4K pitcher got me 13 and everyone else on the slate got 25 to 30, I would take a shot. Honestly, you could make that up with bats.
Would you take 10? Would you take 10 JSU? Like what's the number you wouldn't take? When would you actually start being like, okay, I can't do it? Because again, these bats are really big on this slate. There's some really good bats.
Listen, I've made the case for a lot of these pitchers, but Robbie Ray still has to face Boston. That's still a tough matchup. Lance McCullers probably has him and Wainwright definitely have the easiest matchups, I think, just from a matchup perspective. I think those are the two guys you're really trying to, okay, if Manning got me 10 and those guys got 25 to 30, I guess you could take 10. I would take 10 would probably be where I draw it, Mangone, but I don't know, 8 to 10.
Yeah, and he said he might get -13. Yes, agreed, Uncle T. We all said, like, we're probably not playing him, right? But you have to think of routes where the cheap pitcher could work, because you can't just play Lance McCullers and Robbie Ray and play Toronto. It's just not possible, right? So we're talking through the process. You'll get our core plays up. Uncle T's got the playbook up. So yeah, we're trying to talk through the process and try and figure out how to get there, how to get those cheap options in there and see if we can get all those bats.
By the way, speaking of Uncle T and the playbook, don't sleep on Uncle T with the playbook. Make sure you check out his top stacks, because I swear to God, every time he does the friggin' playbook, I always go and look at the playbook no matter who does it. But it is just funny. Like the last couple of times I've went to see Uncle T's top stacks, I haven't played them. And the next morning, I'm kicking myself looking at it going, Uncle T called the top stack of the night, or like his second best stack. He's on with those stacks. I will say Uncle T has got those stacks, as AP would say, dialed in. So make sure you check out Uncle T's top stacks in the playbook.
I will say Uncle T on 2 of my favorite stacks today up there at 1 and 2. So you love to see it. I'm aligned with Uncle T. I always love being aligned with him. So check out that playbook. Use that code.
You're in line with every knee house. I swear to God, any knee house Mangone is on, like he's just trailing him title. He's literally just hanging on like left leg. He's that little kid who's holding on to their dad's left leg and he's dragging them from the park. Like, let's go, kid. Come on, we gotta go.
And I'm on that kid. I'm on the other side of the knee houses every single time too. That was my action the whole playoffs. Big T, Uncle T. Yeah, Mangone's right there, and someone's got to push back against them, have a little fun with it. But
that's fake news, because none of you watched the bet show last night where me and Uncle T are head to head on a golfer betting for lunch. So you guys, you could keep spewing the fake news, JSU. I'm heads up
for golf. I got to make my golf lineups after MLB locks. Who's the golf winner, Mangone, real quick?
So I have a head-to-head with Uncle T. The head-to-head is Tringale versus Finau. Heads up. I said you can take the higher price golfer, but my favorite guy, right, the guy that I'm gonna have on a ton of my teams is the Gim Reaper, Mr. Doug Gim. So I love him this week at 7,900. That's one of my guys I'll be riding this week. So
right. Me and Uncle T. I like some Gim. I can get on board with that.
Yeah, he's a great play. So I on Run Pure Bets, I got a nice little matchup over there on him, and I gave that out on the show. So go check that out. JSU, give me your final pitcher breakdown, and then we'll head on over to the hitters here.
Yeah, so I just want to throw this out. So the one guy we didn't talk about, and it's probably because he is, in my opinion, overpriced, Kyle Hendricks in that same game with Adam Wainwright. Everyone's going to play Wainwright. And if you wanted to get crazy in tournaments, he's going to go 90 to 100 pitches probably. He usually goes about that. And no one's going to play both of those guys in the same lineup. His problem is K's. He's normally doesn't strike out a ton of guys, and that's where the upside lies. But he's going to go deep into a game. And if he gets you a start where he goes 7 innings and gives you 4 or 5 plus Ks, maybe 6, like he could get you 20 to 25. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And he's going to be like under 2% owned. So it's probably more of like a 150 lineup MME strategy type thing. But if you wanted that, like no one is going to pair up those two guys from the same game in Wainwright and Kyle Hendricks. So I'm not saying he's my top pitcher. I'm not putting him up there above, McCullers or Ray. I'm just saying in a tournament, you're playing in that $6 on DraftKings. It's a strategy that is going to be really low owned. So Wainwright will be high owned, but those two guys together will not be. So just something to throw in there that I might try if I do MME or play in that $6. But my top pitchers, if I just had to rank them, I'd probably I'm going to go Wainwright 1. I'm going to go point per dollar, right, Mangone? So I'm going to go Wainwright 1, Dylan Cease 2, Robbie Ray, McCullers. I'm going to go Robbie Ray still and then McCullers, but I don't know. That could be flip-flopped. Those are the 4 guys, though.
All right, those are the four. Let's move on, though. Let's go talk about the catcher position. Before we go on and talk about the catcher position, I want to talk about all the stuff we have over here at Run Pure Sports. Again, we got the MMA content. We got best ball content, right? So be sure to check that out on the YouTube videos that we have here. We got articles. We have NASCAR. We have tennis. We have League of Legends. I mean, if you want to play DFS, we'll help you out. We'll do our best. We got the core plays for you, the playbook. We will give you the winner. So check out all that content. Again, use that code RPSHERE25 to get 25% off your first payment. Titletown, I'll go over to you. Catcher position. Are you paying up? Are you paying down on this slate? We got some good options at the top, and we got some punt options. So break it down for me. How are you handling the catcher position?
Yeah, I think there's a couple ways to go at catcher. It's not the strongest position, but I like JT Realmuto up top at 5K. I like the Phillies today on the road, guaranteed ninth inning at bats, good hitters park. We get Woj back in our life, the old Baltimore pitcher we always target Baltimore pitchers. So he's back pitching for the Yankees. I don't expect him to go very deep into the game, but I'm also not scared of the Yankees bullpen. I do like the Phillies. Realmuto at 5K would be my preferred spend up. Otherwise, if we're going down, nothing really stands out too much. If you get Danny Jansen in the lineup, you can get a piece of that Toronto team for cheap at 2.9K. I think the White Sox are in a very good spot, and I think they're going to go a little under-owned. So Zach Collins, he's in the 8-hole. I usually, whoever I'm stacking in tournaments, if I'm not paying all the way up, I'll throw my catcher part of the stack. Zach Collins would be a part of the stack there. And then if you want to get a little leverage, Christian Vasquez at 2.8K against Robbie Ray. I mean, yeah, Robbie Ray strikes people out, but I mean, Boston's going to put up runs. They have a 4.6 implied total. Vasquez in the 7-hole has a little power. So I like Realmuto up top as my favorite. I want to spend up, but always I'm going to live in that 2.8K range with a couple of those guys. Whoever you're stacking, I'm throwing in catcher if I'm not playing Realmuto.
Right, JSU, I'll go over to you. In tournaments, are you spending up or down, right? What's the best way to do it? Or are you just taking a guy from your stack? I know you don't always stack, so maybe you're doing like a one-off here. How are you handling the catcher position?
Yeah, so Danny Jansen, however you say his name, is in the lineup title, by the way. So that lineup just popped a little bit ago. So I do like him. That's a good call, especially if you're going with that stack. But either way, he's a cheap catcher you could throw in there. Let's see. The Tigers got Griner in there. I don't mind the Tigers today as a sneaky stack. And so I got to see what his price tag is. I'm just seeing that lineup.
2.2K. I like that.
2.2. So yeah. He's a cheap guy. I think I'm going to be going more the cheap route at catcher. So I'll probably be because some of the stacks that I like, just looking at it real quick, probably are going to have cheap catchers in there outside of Realmuto for Philly if you wanted to spend all the way up. So I'm assuming Washington is going to have that Trace Barria, or however you say his name, starting at catcher again. He's 2.1K. So I think, honestly, those are the three guys. You got Griner from Detroit, Danny Johnson, and Washington's catcher at 2.1, who I'm going to be focusing on, which kind of works with a few of the stacks that I'm going to focus on too.
All right, let's move on over. Let's talk about the first base position. Let's talk about Vlad Guerrero Jr., right? Because Vlad Guerrero Jr. is one of the best spend ups today. But again, like we talked about it, I mean, pitching, it's kind of expensive today. There's not a lot of cheap guys. And of course, 6.0K on DK, it is a lot to spend for your first baseman. You also got Jose Abreu off a big game, who I love playing him, and I think he's going to get a little under-owned today. Rhys Hoskins, too. He hit a bomb. It was Hoop's play of the day, and he's definitely someone that I would not ignore in that park with Asher Wojciechowski in there. So, Title, 3 great spend-ups. Are you spending up, or are you looking at someone else?
Yeah, I mean, first base is absolutely loaded. Vlad up top is by far the best play at 6K, but because I'm paying up for a pitcher at multiple spots, I don't think I'm going to be able to get him in too many lineups. And if I do, it'd be a one-off mainly since Toronto's so expensive. But if you have the money, going all the way up to him for sure. Josh Bell at 4K makes a lot of sense. I think that's too cheap for the power in the middle of the order. And then Danny Santana, Big T's boy, all the way at the bottom, 2.3K. He's in the 2-hole. Boston's, I mean, there's some cheap parts of Boston. I think Danny Santana's the best one. I mean, I'll take a 2.3K pretty much free. Robbie Ray, I like him, but it's a tough spot. 4.6 implied total for Boston's nothing to sleep at. He's too cheap. And if you're going all the way up at pitchers, it allows you to pay up at other spots. So Vlad all the way up top at 6K, Josh Bell in the mid tier at 4K, and then Danny Santana at 2.3K are the three I'm looking at.
All right. Someone says, man, where is DC? He'll be on the premium show. So don't worry. Listen, we mix and match throughout the different shows. You got Big T and you got DC. They will be on the premium show, so you can check them out. I believe JSU, is it Holden as well? Will he be there, being the host for that show?
Yeah, Holden will be there to, keep Big T and DC in line and keep them from fighting too much, and hope it'll be a good show. I mean, if you're looking for DC, that's where he is. He's over on the premium side. Catch him 6 Eastern time, all the way up to lock. He'll be answering questions, talking about his favorite pitchers, favorite stats. Same thing with Big T today. So get over there if you're not signed up. But man, going, you got the code, right?
Yep, RPS here 25 gets you 25% off. So be sure to tune in to the premium show. Listen to that. I'm sure you will be listening in. He'll be putting up his core plays for the people as well. So don't miss out on that. JSU, though.
Man, going. Speaking on core plays, I got Richie Smalls here. He says, JSU used your early core and sitting in 7th in the 150. Thank you, RPS. Good mojo. Good luck, Richie. I hope you take that thing down. 150. I know the core worked out pretty well today if you used it. So glad to see that and hope you finish strong.
Yeah, JSU, so here's a question for you. This is my question. Are you shipping everything? Like, what's going on? Because you always, whenever you have a nice core, right, you don't look at the early slate. You might be absolutely winning 100K right now. So what's going on?
Man, going, I don't look until it's over. So because that creates bad mojo, because even if you're winning, let's say you're winning 100K, like you can only go down from there, man, going, right? So that's nothing worse than seeing you winning a ton of money. I'm telling you right now, is the worst thing I ever did was 2 years ago during a golf sweat. I went to Chipotle and my girlfriend hit the DK app to see where I was. And I came back and she left it up on my phone. And you know how your screen, like your saver, after like a minute, it goes away, or 2 minutes. She didn't hit like the button to close it. And I saw that I was winning 150K on Sunday at like noon. And what happened? Went down. I ended up losing at the very end. So I learned after that lesson, never ever look until the slate is over. Worst thing I ever did was the worst experience. That just terrible. So
I can't do that. I can't do that. That's props to you. I know Big T's the same way. I mean, if I'm watching the games, I check how my players are doing on the app.
I know how I'm doing based on my players. You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
I only, and this is another reason why, like, I only play like 1 to 4 lineups normally. So whether you're playing golf, baseball, like, you know who you had. Like, I know the pitchers I play. You know what I mean? There's not that many guys. I have a decent memory when it comes to like the guys I plugged in my lineup a few hours ago. So it's like, I know who I need to do well. I don't need to look and see where I am and freak myself out. Like, I think that's another thing too. It keeps me calm, right? You know what I mean? From the highs and the lows. Like, you don't get to see those highs. If it drops down, you don't have the really bad lows that some people have. Because I know some people will screen watch the entire time, and I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you play cash games, JSU. You kind of have to. So
you got to make sure you're not blocked and stuff. You're always looking ahead.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I will say the one thing I do like about looking, JSU, is like, if I see Big T's team out of nowhere when I'm scrolling, right, I'll look at Big T's team and then I just study it real quick. What did Big T do? It gives me a chance to just like go through while I'm watching the games and be like, well, what did he do? Like in the moment, right? Instead of being like 24 hours later and trying to like figure it out, I'm like, well, do I think that was a good decision? Do I think that was a bad decision? Was his team good? Like, I don't know. That's stuff that I do. So we all have our different process, right? But if I did play tournaments only, I think it would be a lot easier just to not even look.
I'm telling you, Big T, me and Big T never even talked about this. And I realized he does the same thing, after one of his big NBA sweats where I was like, oh, you didn't know? Like, I was on the phone with him and he didn't know. I knew before him and the slate was over that he won, and he didn't know. And I was like, oh, you don't look like at all. Like, you know what I mean? And he's like, no, never. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm the same way. I just, by how your players are doing. But Let's get back to the baseball. First base. I mean, so Vlad is going to be the guy that everyone wants, but the pitching is going to be tough for people spending down wise, where I think they're going to need some salary savers. Maybe they'll find some cheaper punts like catcher and stuff. So Vlad will probably be one of the most popular spends if people can get up there. I like Jonathan Scope a little bit. I think Rhys Hoskins is another decent play. Hoop called it yesterday. Josh Bell's probably my favorite, though. 4K, back-to-back bombs. I think he pinch hit a bomb yesterday. Yeah, he was in the lineup, but hit a bomb yesterday, pinch hit. And he's still cheap, so I like the Washington stack again. And 4K seems like a really nice price tag. After him, Danny Santana, I don't love it. You say he's hitting the 2-hole too?
Yeah.
I didn't see that lineup. That's probably gonna make him like more popular because he's hitting, higher up in the order and stuff. So I probably won't go there in tournaments because I assume people might go there as a salary saver and get ownership. So I don't mind that. Another guy though that might be sneaky if he makes the lineup, Darren Ruff, who just hits lefties really well. I know Urias isn't someone we want to like really. I don't want to like target and take a ton of bats from, but he can give up a home run, and a guy like Ruff who hits lefties really well, I think is sneaky, low owned, could hit you a bomb at 4,300. He was as high as like 5,300, by the way, like a week ago. So like this guy's price tag's come down a good bit in the last like week. So Darren Ruff, 4,300. If he makes the lineup, which I think he will, I like him a little bit.
All right, let's move on over. Let's talk about the second base position. JC, I'm going to go back to you. I know you put yourself on mute, but be ready because we're going to talk Jose Altuve. Because, of course, he's a guy that you're going to love, I'm sure, on this slate. Eli Morgan's terrible. He hit 2 bombs yesterday. So how do I not go to you first talking about second base?
I mean, Jose Altuve is just you want to talk about go to baseball, right? Jose Altuve is the man. And he's like friggin' 5'5". So I love this guy. He's just got so much power. He's fun to watch too. I know some people don't like him because of the whole thing with the Astros, a few years back or whatever, but this dude is just on fire this year. I mean, 22 home runs, 57 RBIs. I know the Astros as a team kind of been slumping recently until last night where it felt like they kind of broke out a little bit last night, right? I think they were on some of the winners too with their stacks and stuff. He obviously hit 2 bombs. My issue is after 2 bombs, everyone is just going to go right back to him. I don't hate the play. I understand it, but I kind of want, I know there's going to be ownership there. So I kind of want to pivot and go somewhere else. I talked about Jonathan Scope at first, but you can play him at second too. But it's not that I hate Jose Altuve. It's just that I know he's going to get ownership. I think second base, you can go cheaper too. If Joe Panic makes the lineup, he's second and third base eligible. I don't hate him. Brad Miller. Did Brad Miller make the lineup?
7-hole, yep.
Yeah, so I can go right back. Yeah, I can go right back to Brad Miller at 2,700 at second base. Jose Altuve's got to be like the top guy. Him or Semien for Toronto. Got to be the top 2 guys. But I don't know. I kind of like going down if I can to one of those 2. Maybe even Kike if you're not playing Robbie Ray. I mean, Kike's got a ton of power. Everyone's going to see the matchup against Ray and maybe shy away. But he's 3,500. And one thing about Ray is he's going to strike out like probably 8 to 10 dudes, but he can also give up a bomb or 2. So I wouldn't be shocked if, Kike, was one of the guys that hit one. So 3,500, I might be spending down at second base.
All right. We got 478 watching. So almost 500. We got 173 likes. Let's get those likes up. Title, how many do we got to get for you today to give out the plays? What's the number? And then break down second base for me.
Let's get 220. I think 220 is very doable. A little less than half. Good mojo. Bucks winning. 220 is a good number. Second base for me, it is a spend down position though. Gene Segura stands out at 3.4K batting leadoff. I also like Brad Miller, same game, batting 7, 2.7K. I like Philly today. I like going back and picking out Woj in a good park. You can go in that same game and play someone people don't like to play in Odor, 3.6K. He's in the 3-hole. I mean, he's either pretty much strikeout or home run at this point, but I think it's a good matchup for him. I think he can get it done. 3.6K is a good pivot off of Gene Segura. And same with Kiki Hernandez, like JSU mentioned, 3.5K. I think everyone's just going to go Gene Segura right in that range, batting leadoff. And I think Hernandez and Odor both have pop. They're both good leverage spots, and they're going to come in with lower ownership. So looking at those four, Gene Segura, Brad Miller, Kiki Hernandez, and Odor, and I'm going to pay down at second base. But I don't mind Altuve. If you're playing Manning or something, then yeah, paying up and going Altuve will get you be a little different, but pay down for me because I'm going up at pitcher.
All right, we got Jessica Tislow in the chat saying, where do I watch Big T and JSU? You go to the premium show. We'll tweet out when it goes live, but also you can grab the media alerts link. It'll be on the premium side, so be sure to check that out. You can grab it in the Discord as well. So check that out and get all the core plays. JSU, while I have you here, right, you're typically on that show. So tell me like kind of what we do on that premium show, how it all kind of goes.
Yeah, so just to touch on Mangone, if you're in the Discord, there's a media alert section, which Mangone was just talking about. We always drop the link in there. I try to also drop it in the like the MLB chat. You know what I mean? So if you're in the MLB Discord, in the MLB chat, I try to also drop it in there as well and add everyone. So, you know, if you struggle finding it though, Jessica, you can always hit, you know, me or Mangone or Title. You can always shoot us like a DM, you know, whether it's on Twitter or Discord. Discord's probably easier, or anyone, and we can help you find out the show, because it should be simple and easy to get to. But if you're still struggling, let us know. We'll help you out. We'll guide you there.
Yeah, and it goes out on Twitter most days too, JSU. I mean, occasionally it's not, but most days it's out there too, so you can always snag it there.
When Mangone's slacking, sometimes he'll forget to tweet out the link, or he'll do it later. But for the most part, he does his job. So you're right. But on the show, you know, it's more of like live up to lock, where we'll go through kind of how we do it we'll go through our favorite pitchers. We'll talk about our favorite stacks on there, and then we'll try and get to, you know, as many questions as possible, have a little fun as well, but try and answer your questions, or people's questions up to lock. We have a live show chat where you can, you know, go and ask questions in the Discord, and make sure you get in the live show chat. You can ask us questions, and we're there to help out all the way up to lock.
All right, Titletown, let me go over to you. Talk about third base to me. Mr. Moncada is one of those White Sox I'm looking at today as a good third baseman, but overall, this position's not that good today. It's definitely not as loaded as normal. What are you doing with this position today?
I'm on your White Sox today. I don't think Pineda's good at all anymore. I think the White Sox are going to go a little overlooked. Their prices are, I mean, they're in the mid tier. They're just not standing out completely. They're pretty close to Toronto, where people are going to want to get up to them. I like Yohan Moncada for sure at 4.5K. You also get Jake Berger at 2.3K in that White Sox lineup in the 7-hole. So if you're going to take savings, 2.2K savings from Moncada, you get some exposure to that White Sox lineup too. Don't expect him to get too much ownership. And then Josh Harrison. I don't see the Nationals lineup out yet. He's only 2.5K. I think he should be in like the 5-hole or something. I like Washington against Nieder, so I think he'll get some ownership. Gets the guys later, Juan Soto, Trey Turner. There's some guys we like on Washington. Makes it easy to mini stack them, and I expect people to play Josh Harrison since he's cheap in that lineup. So I like the two White Sox guys, and then Josh Harrison is my third.
All right, and Jessica says she's been subbed for a month and didn't know about it, right? So sometimes people don't know about stuff here. So if you ever have questions, right, just feel free to DM us in that Discord. Get in that Discord chat. Again, we're doing our best to help you guys out and like help you up all the way up till like the lock, right? Even till 10 o'clock. If you got a decision based on like a pitcher, right, later on, you know, we're happy to be there and help you out. And everyone in the Discord chat is spreading the winners. They're spreading their information and trying to help each other out. JSU, give me your winners at third base. Who are some of the guys you are keying in on tonight?
Yeah, I'm shocked that Title didn't mention Kevin Biggio, who's one of my favorites in this range. 3,600 for Biggio. He's my top third baseman. It's just too cheap for him, like way too cheap in that Toronto stack. I mean, he might hit 7th or 8th, whatever he's hitting, but still, I think he's my favorite point per dollar guy for sure. Wilmer Flores, again, if he makes the lineup against the lefty, you can always take him against the lefty. Price tags come down a bit too, 4K. Nice little tournament one-off there. Like I said, I wouldn't, full stack San Francisco, but I'd pick off a bat. righty bat, against your eyes. So Wilmer for sure. Joe Panic is another guy I talked about, second and third base eligible. If I was going to spend up at this spot, I don't know. I don't love the spend up options. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a spend down because I don't really see a guy at the top that I love going for anyway. So I'll probably going to spend down. Biggio is definitely my favorite for sure.
Yep, Biggio is definitely a good spend down. I like it on this slate. Biggio's been a little rough this year, right? Hasn't been one of the best Blue Jays, but I do think he's definitely worth looking at. And he helps kind of build out those stacks. So you can make an argument fading Biggio could maybe make you unique based on your Blue Jay stack. If people are using the salary relief guys, I'd say the same with Jansen too, right? You have to look at some of those cheap guys and see what people are doing when they're jamming in those Toronto bats. JSU, is that something you kind of take into account for? I feel like Big T's talked about that a little bit. Is that something you look at?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. Like if you build the Toronto stat, third base in general, to me, just doesn't look that appealing overall anyways. One guy actually, like who I mentioned, but you could definitely get different by like subbing out a Biggio for someone else. The problem is though, those bottom of the lineup guys, man, those are the guys that people try and shy away from. I just wonder if because of roster construction and how weak, in my opinion, third base is, maybe people will just gravitate to him in general because top stack, cheap price tag. But a lot of people try to stay away from those 7-8 hitter guys, you know what I mean, who've been slumping too, where we'll see kind of what happens. But one guy who I missed, who I forgot about, Yan Moncada, I don't mind here. He's starting to get the bat back a little bit. Really slow start to the season, but he's starting to hit better again. And I could take a shot with him at 4,500 too. So I'll add him into my player pool as well.
Yeah, JC, let me mention one more guy at third base on FanDuel. You could play Vlad Guerrero Jr. there, right? I say this pretty much every show, but it's like worth mentioning. If you like that catcher first base spot, which, hey, I like Jose Abreu. He's pretty good, right? I like Gavin Sheets a little,
No, is Sheets in the lineup, Mangone?
I assume, right? Oh, he's not in the lineup today? Oh, that's brutal. I don't know why they didn't.
I don't think he's in the lineup. Yeah,
no, he's not. You're right. They put who'd they put in there? They put someone different.
Billy Hamilton's hitting.
Yes.
Hitting ninth. They have Angle hitting second. Yeah.
Angle second, which is gross because I hate Adam Angle. He's like the worst, but it is what it is. No Sheets for me. But again, I still like putting the guy at third base because I love the catcher first base. Sometimes I think that's a good way to get unique with your team. So let's go over to you, Title. Let's talk shortstop and listen, we're talking about the White Sox. Let's talk Tim Anderson's BVP. I think he's 12 for 18 against Michael Pineda with 3 homers. I don't know if you're a BVP guy actually, Title, but that is pretty intriguing. And shortstop is loaded, right? This is definitely a slate where you got Trey Turner, who's been crushing it. You have Semien, you have Bichette, you have the Astros who are turning around a little bit with Carlos Correa. You have shortstops to play, and I haven't even mentioned those Phillies. So tons of shortstops, Title. Where are you going on this slate?
Yeah, shortstop's absolutely loaded. Tim Anderson will start there. I like the White Sox a lot. I am not a BVP guy at all. I don't look at it at all. But that's because I'm on these shows and I know if there's something that really stands out, the chat's going to let us know. And I've seen it a lot. Tim Anderson BVP from multiple people. And when you see it like that, I mean, it's not that I don't believe in BVP. I mean, when you play baseball, you see certain pitchers, you see the arm slot, you get timing down. I believe that stuff. But I mean, there's so much the BVP can be misleading with that. You hit the ball hard, you get unlucky outs, blah, blah, blah. But if people are going to let me know certain times when it does apply, and I think it's real, Tim Anderson BVP might be real here. And I don't think Pineda is good. I also don't think he's going to be very popular at shortstop because, I mean, you can go Bo Bichette at 5.1K, Trey Turner at 5.7K. There's good spend up options around him. So I like Tim Anderson for sure. I like Bo Bichette at 5.1K for Toronto. That's too cheap to get exposure to that offense. I like Trey Turner, like I mentioned. But there's also spend down options too. Didi Gregorius at 3.7K back to Philly, and then Gleyber Torres for 3.4K. I do prefer Didi there, but I think they're both strong plays if you're saving money. Position's absolutely loaded, but yeah, I do like Tim Anderson a lot in tournaments.
All right, JC, I'll go over to you. Shortstop's loaded. I think you got to be spending up today. So are you spending up on a shortstop here?
Yeah, man, going first. Ronnie's coming at you. He said he's a big White Sox fan. He can't let you get away with the Angle is garbage take. He says that's bad mojo. You're a White Sox lover too, Mangone. You can't be bringing bad mojo to your team. He's right, actually. I'm going to back Ronnie on this one. You can't bring bad mojo to your team like that. That's your team.
Listen, you're already playing Moncada, Abreu, Anderson. You're not playing in the 2-hole Adam Engel. You're finding another way to be different. Now, if Adam Engel's in the 8-hole, maybe I'd get a little more excited, but not in that 2-hole, man. Everyone is gravitating towards that garbage. Like, again, I want to make my stack a little unique, right? And that's the way to do it, JSU. You're not playing Adam Engel in the 2-hole, right? I'm not playing the 1 through 5, JSU. I'm just not doing it.
Mangone, I might have to play some Adam Engel.
He's a lock.
You're giving like the reverse jinx on, right? You're literally screwing yourself right now. Adam Engel might be the whatever JSU's play of the day is, because I think Mangone is. First of all, I think Ronnie's right too. I don't know if he's garbage. I kind of just went by that take a little bit. I'm not going to go garbage on Engel. I mean, I don't know, Mangone.
Anytime
you can have Engel today, I'll have Andrew Vaughn. How's that sound? I'll take
okay. All right. I mean, I like Andrew. Andrew Vaughn's a good hitter, though. He's a good hitter. I mean,
that's all I'm saying. Like, listen, on FanDuel, I can only play 4 JSU. So if I'm playing I'm playing Andy, I'm going to play Vaughn over Engel. I'm sorry. It's just going to happen. And
listen, I want to play Engel too if he's not going to get ownership. If he's going to get like a ton of ownership because he's hitting in the 2-hole, I won't like him as much, but what do you think? Are the White Sox going to be owned?
No, I don't think they're getting as owned. I think you're seeing the Blue Jays I think a lot of people are gravitating towards the Blue Jays for sure.
Philly.
Philly for sure.
They're too cheap.
Yeah, the cheap tags on Philly is going to be what's really attractive about them. And then it's going to get paired up with probably Toronto, probably some Astros as well. I do think that people will play White Sox, right? But the problem is if you look, like they might do it with like Moncada because third base is gross, right? They're not going to do it with Jose Abreu. They're just going to go to Vlad. They're not going to do it with Tim Anderson. They're just going to go Bichette or one of those other guys. I mean, there's so many shortstops.
It's interesting though, because we're talking about these teams and it's like, okay, if you play the White Sox, you should be playing Jose Abreu, but that means you can't pair him with Vlad on DraftKings. You can't play Vlad at first. You can't do the Toronto stack with Vlad. Same thing with Philly. You can't play Reese. So you're going to leave out one of these stud hitters if you're trying to pair them up. It's kind of interesting how people will pair up the Toronto stack with like a Philly or a White Sox, like whatever. Because I think it's going to be tough to do because you're going to end up leaving some of the best hitters of those stacks out. You're just going to have to choose one or the other. I think that's another interesting angle to that topic is like, you're going to have to make some tough decisions on like, if Toronto and Philly are the two spots that people are going to want to mix, how do you mix them? Like, do you play the entire Toronto outfield and then the cheap second shortstop, you play the stud catcher from Philly and, I don't know, but like, then you leave out Bryce Harper. So how do you stack those teams is going to be the interesting debate because there's many ways to do it, but all ways you end up leaving out stud players.
It's a good slate. It's a really good 8-game slate. I think ownership's going to be pretty spread out. Pricing's fine. But what I do know is Engel's pretty much a lock to hit a home run at this point, man.
Right? Yeah,
we've been down this road too much.
I'm with you. Travis just put it on him. Everyone mark this down. We're coming back to this.
I like Berger over him. I like Vaughn. I mean, I'll take either of them.
Oh, he's digging the grave now. You're like that gif of the guy digging himself and then lying down and throwing the dirt on him and stuff. You're that guy right now.
I wasn't even on Engel, but now I have to be. It's
fair enough. If you guys want to play him, go ahead. You can play. I don't think I'll play him. And the only way it would happen is if it's like 703 or like 704.
You can't play him.
No, I mean, I can. I can. The one thing I'll say is sometimes you run like the optimizer, right? And like you look and you're like, oh, that's my favorite team. You try, it's like 704 and like you just have to click save. That is like the worst feeling. But
Ronnie, you see what we just did there? We got man going back to our side. Now he's gonna play and go. You see what we did there, Ronnie? We did it. Me, you, and Title, we got him.
I will say they're the JC. They're the same position. So you know what? I can always play just Andrew Vaughn instead. So now I know that if it's 704 and I'm scrambling. Reminder, if I see Engel on one of those top ones, just make it Andrew Vaughn. Just quickly go through. So
there you go.
You helped me with my practice there. That's exactly what I'll do if I am.
All right. So shortstop, we'll go back to the shortstop position here. Tim Anderson, the BVP, like Title said, it's kind of tough to ignore that BVP. 3 dongs, was he 11 for 15, 3 homers. He's a really good play, and there's a lot of stud shortstops on the slate. I mean, you got Bo Bichette, you got Trey Turner, who I think is another really, really good spend up on this slate. So Trey Turner and Tim Anderson are probably my 2 favorite shortstops. And then if I had to spend down, it'd probably be Didi. But it is a position. If I don't go Didi, then I probably want to spend up and get me some either Timmy Anderson or Trey Turner. I mean, Trey Turner's another guy who's just been really good at the plate. He's just been really good. So I double-digit fantasy points in his last 4 games. I don't know, 5,700's a lot, but he's a stud. So it's tough between him and Timmy Anderson. They're definitely my top 2. I don't know how. I probably put Turner, then Timmy Anderson if I had to rank them, but they're definitely the guys I'm looking at.
All right, let's move on over. Let's talk about the outfielders. Let's get the likes up, guys. We're at 208. We need only 12 more to be able to give out those plays, so hit those for us. We'd appreciate it a ton. And subscribe to the channel to check out all the content we have over here at Run Pure Sports. Let's talk about the outfield. Titletown, break it down for me. What are you doing in the outfield?
Yeah, outfield's always loaded as usual. There's a lot of really good spend down options too. So there's opportunity to save salary and then spend up at first base for Vlad and stuff like that. A couple of my favorite spend ups if you're going that route though. Bryce Harper is my favorite, 5.3K. That just is underpriced in my opinion. Juan Soto at 5.6K. I like the Nationals too. And then Jordan Alvarez, 5.2K. He would fall third on the list, but those are my favorite 3 spend ups if you are going to go all the way up to the top tier. Stanton's only 4.6K in the 2-hole. I think that's too cheap. Double dong upside. I like that. But then we go down to salary savers, and Andrew McCutchen's only 3.1K. That is a complete mispricing. And I mean, he's going to be probably the most popular outfielder, maybe the most popular hitter on the slate. Akil Baddoo is only 3.3K against Jordan Lyles. I do like some Toronto, and I always like playing Akil Baddoo, so I like him. Your boy Adam Engel, I mean, he's 3.2K against Pineda. I don't know. Now I have to play him. Now I have to like him, so he's definitely in there. Michael Brantley's too cheap at 3.4K. Kyle Tucker at 3.9K. There's just a lot of spend down options. You can also go Danny Santana at outfield instead of first base if you want, but I'd rather play him at first base just because. I mean, if I'm playing him at first base, it's because I'm fully punting, and there's McCutchen, there's Baddoo, there's other guys I like more in the outfield. Bryce Harper, I like a lot. So I think I'd play him at first base and just save the salary completely rather than outfield, but tons of options. Bryce Harper is my favorite up top. Juan Soto up top as well. Then Andrew McCutchen, Akil Baddoo, Tucker, Brantley, a lot of good outfielders as always.
All right, JSU, I'll go over to you. Outfield, how are you handling it? Are you playing some Joey Gallo today? What are you doing there in the outfield today, JSU?
Yeah, so one guy. I'm not gonna give you a ton of guys at every range. I'm gonna try and give you just 1 or 2 at each range. Juan Soto is definitely the stud I want. If I spend up for one outfielder and have a choice, it's gonna be Soto. Like no problems if you rather go Harper or whatever, but just straight up. I'll take Soto over all these guys in the 5K plus range. In the 4K range, Teoscar Hernandez for Toronto, I really like here against Richards. Going down lower. In the 3K range, I'll give you a few because it's a loaded range. Kyle Tucker kind of towards the top. Akil Baddoo, if you want to go a little lower, 3,300. The guy's been really good at the plate recently, and he's still the price for whatever reason has stayed, right around the same. So he's in a really good spot again. If you want to go there, I like him. And Angle, like Title said, I think I think I'm pot committed now just to own Mangone when he hits a dong. So I got to get some Angle in there. For sure.
All I know is if I look down at my phone tonight, right, and I see the notification that says Adam Engel hit a home run, like I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just go hide, like throw my phone against the wall because that will not end well for me. Basically, this is
Yeah, this is definitely a lose-lose, which is why I got to play him no matter what. It's a lose-lose for Mangone, so I just got to see it through. But the other guy, Hunter Renfroe, who's $3K, so he's really cheap, and he gets the lefty matchup at a really nice price tag. And like I said, Robbie Ray, same. He's gonna strike dudes out, but he can also give up a bomb or two for sure. Hunter Renfroe, Kike, those are my two favorite Red Sox guys, and they're cheap. So I like both those guys here. If you're talking about one-offs, that'd be a nice little Boston one-off.
All right. We got almost 220 likes, so we're going to talk about the stacks, and then we'll, discuss the plays of the day. Titletown, we'll go to you. Give me your stacks.
Well, yeah. So Toronto is obviously the top stack, but I'm not going to be able to have as much as them as normal. Philly and Washington, because of their prices, I like them a lot. But I think I'm sneakier stacks. I'll give two of them. I really like the White Sox. I don't think Pineda's any good. There's some good prices on these White Sox too. So they're going to be number one. And then the Yankees, they're going to be number two. Landis talking me into a little bit in the chat too. I always respect Landis takes. Odor, Stanton, Gleyber Torres, they all have good prices too. And I don't think they're going to be very popular at all. 5.1 implied total. Howard isn't good at all. Good ballpark. I think they're going to be under-owned and can put up a lot of runs. So my two sneaky stacks, White Sox and Yankees. And then, yeah, Philly, Washington, Toronto, the top three, and ownership will come with that.
My top two are Jays and the White Sox today. I do like the Astros, but I don't know what to do with them, and I want to look at some stuff to see. I also don't know if I want to get off of those two teams. I love them today. JSU, I'll go over to you. Give me your stacks today.
Yeah, I don't hate the Yankees take there. I don't mind that at all. Washington for me is number one. Toronto number two, and then Detroit would probably be number three for me. That'd be like my sneakier stack today against Jordan Lyles, who maybe Jordan Lyles gets some ownership, but the way Detroit's been, playing, it's a tough matchup. There's some good hitters here. So I kind of like the Detroit as a sneaky stack. Robbie Grossman's cheap. Badu's cheap. Jonathan Scope is finally back to first base and second base eligible. So you don't have to play him at first. And the cheap catcher. So you got a nice little outside of Scope. You got a pretty cheap stack.
All right. Title. I'll go over to you. Give me your play of the day, fresh out of the Deer District, right? So you got to have a good one here. It's got to be a fire play. Who is your play of the day, Title?
Yeah. This is tough. I'm gonna go with someone really cheap at a position I don't love. I'm paying up at pitcher, so I can't spend up everywhere. Jake Berger at 2.3K. Third base is not good. 2.3K is pretty much free. He's in the 7 hole. We like the White Sox a lot. People always go to the top of the order. They might go Mancada. Josh Harrison will get some ownership. Biggio will get ownership at the position. I like picking on the bottom or stacking the bottom of the order for stacks I like. So give me Jake Berger. I'm not expecting a double dong or anything, but give me a nice 12 points, and that'll help at 2.3K.
Yeah, I like that call. I'll go with mine. I'm going with Mr. Timmy Anderson. There's tons of shortstops to play. I don't think people will be getting him in there as much. So, yeah, I'm definitely down with Tim Anderson. He's going to be a guy that I'm going to be playing. JSU, we'll go over to you. Give the people your play of the day.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give a guy. Third base is really a struggle spot for me, and I know where everyone's gonna go. I'm going to go with the sneakier guy. I think Wilmer Flores is coming a lot lower owned. No one's going to go there. Gets the lefties, 4K. Get low ownership on a guy like Wilmer who hits lefties really well. I'll take it at a position where third base is pretty weak to me. So give me Wilmer Flores as my play of the day, whatever we call it.
Super cuts I see on the screen, but that's got to be AirPod now. It's definitely got to be the AirPod.
Yeah, where's the JSU AirPods? We got to change that. That's a good one. We got to change it to the JSU AirPod. I just don't. Why would you waste your time actually changing that? Like, what's the point?
I don't know.
It's a Big T thing, right? It bothers him. So
it bothers him. You know why though? Big T. He just the little things bother Big T. I figured this out. Like. He gets bothered by the little things. So that like just having that that would drive him nuts if he saw like BigT AirPods on his screen. It would just drive him nuts to the point where he would have to change it like right away. He couldn't handle it. I just don't care.
Yeah, and real quick, I want to address the angle thing. I'm not playing the 1 through 4 on a stack, guys. I'm not playing the 1 through 5. Adam Engel could be better than Andrew Vaughn. He can be better. I'm not playing all of them. I'm going to mix in one guy from the bottom of the order. JSU, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't play that guy up at the top that everyone's going to jam in there, right, JSU?
Oh, God, I love it. Keep killing him for not playing Engel. God, please hit a home run today. That's all I want. I want Mangone to go hide for a day.
Absolutely awful. But we'll get on out of here. Thanks a lot for joining us. For me, Mangone, JSU, and Titletown. See you guys later.
Good luck, everybody.